Join the movement. Go all electric with Pure Electric.
Hi, my name is Andrew, and it's my pleasure to share with you how we've been making our 1975 Canberra home more sustainable. This is what the house looked like when we bought it some 15 years ago. You're looking at it from the southwest. It's a classic brick veneer home with no insulation in the walls and a lot of gravel. The roof insulation was very poor to none in some parts. Having the full western sun beating down on those concrete tiles would turn them into heat bricks that radiated heat day and night. The house was really hot and uncomfortable in summer. It was also expensive to keep warm in winter. We replaced the concrete tiles with a white colorbond roof. We chose surf mist as it had the lowest solar absorbance and the highest solar reflectance we could find, helping to keep the roof and the ceiling cavity cool. The insulation has made a huge difference to the house, more than halving our gas consumption during winter and helping to keep the house cool in summer. We're also growing a Virginia creeper on the southwestern wall to help keep the sun off the bricks in summer. It also provides a nice privacy screen to our front courtyard. You can see two solar arrays on the western facing roof, and there is another array on the northern side, which you can't see in this photo. I'll talk more about the solar system later. We have plenty of fruit trees, veggie gardens, and plants on the northern side of the house, including an ornamental grape, which we have trained to form a fringe around our northern facing pergola. This provides beautiful shade in summer and helps keep the direct sun off many of the northern windows. In autumn, we trim back the vines back to the stem, and this allows sunlight to reach deep into the house, providing an extra bit of heating. The cover on the pergola is slatted bamboo, which lets the sun in but requires replacing every now and then. On the right, you can see a separate wood cabin. That's our music studio. It's pretty small. It's a pretty small house, only 108 square meters. So this has been a great solution to give us that extra bit of space. The cabin is 19 square meters. Here are all the stats on the solar system. It's a three-phase system with microinverters. This means if we get any shading in winter from our northern trees, only those panels affected by shade have lower output. You can see that the peak daily output in winter is approximately half that of summer. Even so, even on the worst rainy day in winter, we still generated 7 kilowatt hours, which is about half of our normal daily use, depending on the length of showers and what's cooking for dinner. We have a 22 kilowatt home charger for the EV and plug-in hybrid. Our EV can only accept 11 kilowatts from an AC charger, which actually turns out to be perfect if we want to run the car only on solar. Which brings me to my next slide. How can you run an EV using only solar energy from your home? I'm going to get a bit nerdy here, but hopefully some of you might find this helpful. As far as I can see, there are essentially two approaches to doing this. One is using the excess solar energy you generate to charge your car. This is the system I originally had installed. What your house doesn't use, the rest can go towards your car, right? Well, not quite, because there is a minimum threshold that has to be exceeded before your car will be charged. In our case, that was 4 kilowatts because we have three-phase power. If you minus 4 kilowatts from the solar profile, there is actually very little energy that you can use to charge the car and is restricted to the middle of the day. So that approach is slow and not very efficient. What we've been experimenting with is how to better use the battery and have settled on an approach where we do 2 big 3-hour charges each week. I'm going to step through this. Here you can see our daily solar generation from about 2 weeks ago. A few wiggles in the morning due to clouds, but a sunny afternoon. You can see that we generated 59 kilowatt hours for the day. This one shows our use, from the battery in green and direct solar use in yellow. Early morning boost to the hot water system using the battery around 5 a.m, heating up the hot water late morning, and then plugging in the EV for 3 hours from lunchtime. EV batteries are huge. Ours is 78 kilowatt hours. That's more than 5 times larger than our house battery. So it takes a lot of energy to charge them. On this particular day, it was hot and we had the aircon running all afternoon and into the evening. A bit of cooking and then the dishwasher overnight. Back to the EV. It's charging at 11 kilowatts, but our house is only producing 8 in the middle of the day. The gap is then filled by the battery, which we run down over 3 hours. Use the rest of the afternoon to partially recharge it, and that's enough to cover the rest of the evening and hot water boost the following day. The battery enables us to move the stored energy around to when it is most efficient. So we generated 59 kilowatt hours, used 50, and managed to pull in only 0.4 kilowatt hours over the course of the day from the grid. Pretty happy with that. Do that twice a week when it's sunny, and that's all we need for the EV each week. That gives us about 350 kilometers of range. In winter, the peak is around 6 kilowatts. So you need to fill the gap between the solar and the maximum battery hourly output with grid power. That's why we chose an electricity plan with the cheapest electricity in the middle of the day. The hybrid has a smaller battery and charges at a much slower rate, just 3 kilowatts. This means that you can just charge the hybrid using solar pretty much all day without using the battery. There is still lots of stuff we need to do to the house. We are looking at replacing all of the windows with double glazing. That's pretty expensive though, so we are looking at doing just one window a year. Need to get some water tanks in for the garden. And then there is the heating. The insulation and future double glazing will reduce the amount of energy we will need to heat the house. Canberra does get cold in winter, and we need to keep a warm house overnight. It helps us from getting sick all winter. How to do this once we get off gas without being too dependent on high-cost grid electricity, which, let's face it, is only going to go up. I'm still trying to work that bit out. Thanks for watching. Bye.